All right, you've been hearing about this house hacking thing and you're wondering, is this real and what the heck is it exactly? I have been house hacking for a long time, for over a decade. I've done different types of house hacking, and I am here to tell you that house hacking absolutely is real. And I really do wish that more people knew about it because yeah, it is just amazing. House hacking can help you to literally live rent free and mortgage free. House hacking is how I was able to live in New York City for free for years. I was able to pay off my second house within less than a couple of years. And I also was able to quit my 6-figure job. So, what is house hacking exactly? House hacking is essentially turning where you live into a business. Instead of you paying for where you live, you essentially get to get paid to sleep. I know that I like that, which is why I still house hack. Do you want to get paid to sleep? Let me know in the comments. The most common way of house hacking is using a multifamily house. That is my favorite way to house hack, but there are many different ways to do house hacks, and I have done so many of them. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video so you can understand all the different options that you have, because you are not just limited to using a multifamily house. Although I am biased and I am going to say that that is the best way. Okay, so why should you consider house hacking? I'm going to answer this by asking you a question. When you think about everything that you pay for, all of your bills, what is the most expensive thing that you pay for? Unless you live with a friend or relative or parent for free, you probably said where you live. If you could take your rent money and eliminate it completely, or even eliminate, let's say, 70% of it, how much money would you have to spare every single month? I'm curious what that number is. Drop that in the comments. When I was renting, I was paying $1,400 for rent, which at the time was way cheap because going rate was about $2,000. And by starting to house hack, I was able to not pay that money at all, which means that I had a lot more flexibility in my budget. Once you have more money, you have more options. You can now travel more, you can invest more, you can pay down debt. And this is the power of house hacking. When you can eliminate your most expensive bill, well, your most expensive bill besides taxes. If you can get rid of that, then you open up yourself to having more options with your money. The traditional way of house hacking is by buying a multifamily house. Depending on where you live in the country or in the world even, multifamily houses may not be that common. So essentially the outside just looks like one house, but then when you go in, it is split up into different units. So usually each floor is a different house, or it could be a side by side where each side is a different unit. This could be a 2-family house, a 3-family house, or a 4-family house. If you do your math right when you buy this multifamily house, you can make it so you live in one of those units and then the other units cover your mortgage. It is easier to do this if you're buying a 3 or a 4-family house, because essentially you have more tenants, and more tenants means more income, and more income means that you are more likely to pay for your mortgage in full. And the great thing about buying a multifamily house is that the same loan that you would use in a single family house, you can use that to buy a 2, 3, or 4-family house. It's also the same down payment as if you were buying a single family house. So you essentially get to dabble into being a real estate investor, but you are actually buying a place for yourself to live. You get a 2-for-1 special, if you will, or 3 or 4-for-1 if you get a 3 or 4-family house. But the big thing with making a multifamily house beneficial is making sure that when you buy it, your mortgage costs are in fact going to be covered by the tenants. And if you aren't sure how to do that, I do have a workshop that walks you through exactly how to do that, so you can ensure that when you buy this house, you are buying it and you are going to make money from day one, and you are not going to become house poor, because we don't want that. If you decide that a multifamily house is not for you and you are just determined to buy a single family house instead, you can absolutely house hack a single family house as well. So now instead of renting out the different apartments, you are going to go ahead and you are going to rent out different rooms. If you know that you need 2 bedrooms for your living needs, then you're going to go ahead and buy a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house with the intention of specifically renting out those 2 extra bedrooms. Similarly, with the multifamily house, you want to make sure you do your math to ensure that these extra bedrooms that you're renting out are going to cover a large majority of your mortgage. so that it makes sense and it's beneficial for you to buy a bigger house than what you actually need. In addition to renting out additional rooms, there are some houses where the basement is finished or the basement has a separate entrance and separate exit. Instead of you just using that basement to just hang out with your friends on the weekend, take that basement and get a roommate and rent it out instead. If you have the funds, you also can create a space. If you have a basement that is not finished, you can finish that basement with the intention specifically of renting that space out. Or if you have a room that doesn't have a closet, you can go ahead and build a closet and then bam, you now have a whole bedroom that you can rent out instead. The idea is just how can you take the space that you have and start making money from it instead of it just lying around and not doing anything for you. Even if you are a renter, you can also house hack. This is actually how I got started. When I first moved to New York City, I was not making a ton of money. I was actually making $43,000 a year, and I didn't realize how expensive taxes were or how expensive it actually was to live in New York City. And so I actually got a roommate and we split rent, and that was my way of house hacking. When I was looking for apartments to rent, I specifically wanted a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment because I wanted to get a roommate, because I knew from jump I did not want to pay. In fact, I could not even afford to pay a full place for myself, to be honest, so a roommate was a must. But then over time, I just got more savvy about it. So the next roommate that I got, they were paying more than my portion of the rent. Then after that, I started Airbnb-ing that spare room. And through Airbnb, I was able to pay for my rent completely and get to live for free at that place. That was a big part of how I was able to save up money to buy my first house. As always, if you are a renter, you want to get your landlord's permission before you start doing any kind of house hacking, whether it's getting a roommate or doing Airbnb. Because if you do and it's not part of your lease, then you are probably going to get evicted, and we don't want that. So make sure you talk to your landlord first. Now, as much as I love house hacking, there are certain house hacking practices that might be illegal where you live. So make sure you check out this next video so you don't make any of those mistakes. I'll see you there.